All right, fam, so check it. I want to show you right quick how you can go on Yahoo Finance and really just understand a stock right quick, right? I know some of you all are new to the game and you definitely want to understand what all the mumbo jumbo is, right? So I want to be able to show you how to do this right quick and you can read this, right? So you can have some basic information on a stock, right? So the first thing is when you look on here, right here, you see previous close. That lets you know what the stock closed at the last time the market was open, right? So if you see previous close 182, that means the last day the market opened, when it closed, this stock closed at that price. Open, this tells you what the stock opened at the next day, right? Or the day you're looking at it. That's what that tells you. All right, we can go to bid and ask. That's telling you what people have bid on it. Over the last day, this tell you what people have asked on it. That's cool. You don't really too much care about that. The next one says days range. Now that is good because you can know if you're a trader, you're now looking at what this stock has price range it has been in throughout the day. The next thing that's to that says 52-week range. So in 52 weeks, right, this is what the stock has traded at its lowest point and at its highest point. Now, if we're looking at this right now with Apple, we see that Apple's 52-week range is 143 and 199. So in the 52-week time frame, you know at its lowest point it was at 143, and you know at its peak in the 52-week range it was at 199. You can look at the current price right now where it says what the price is at the top. You can see for a fact that it's 181, so it's lower than its highest point in the 52-week range. Let's go back to volume right here. When we see volume, you see 28 million people in it right now. That tells you people either buying or selling or buying, holding. That's what that tells you. On average, the average volume is about 54 million. So that tells us right now that a lot of people aren't really just being active in Apple as it normally would be. Now, that can be a whole lot of reasons. That can be because investors have found another place to go. Apple may not be attractive to it right now, but we can just use any stock for that at the moment. I also want to look at right here where it says market cap. Well, you see Apple is a $2.8 trillion market cap. All that simply is looking at how many shares that Apple have in the game outstanding times the stock price. So Apple has about 16 billion shares. So those shares times the stock price give us a market cap. That's how the market cap goes up and down. So notice that sometimes you'll see Apple has a $3 trillion market cap or Apple has a $2.7 trillion market cap. Well, if you see Apple go up to if Apple goes up to maybe like $210, $220, you'll see Apple go up to a $2.9 trillion market cap. So as the stock price goes up, so does the market cap. And that goes up. They don't add new shares. The stock price times those shares is how that market cap keep changing. All right, so beta, this is the next one, beta. So beta tells us how risky the stock is, right? So anything with a beta of 1 and under, those stocks typically have low risk and the reward is kind of low too. Anything with a beta of over 1, those stocks typically have a higher risk, but the reward is often higher. Don't disregard that beta. Also, that beta is going to judge the vitality of that stock. That beta of 1, so if you find a stock with a beta of 1, then you can probably know that it ain't going to really go 2 up, 2 down. It's probably going to be in that space. But a beta of above 1, it could definitely move around. Now, let's get into something interesting right here. P/E ratio, price to earnings. This is a surface level metric on how well priced a stock is or profitability. So right now, Apple has a 28 PE ratio, right? So that means you are paying $28 for $1 of the company profit in essence. Right? You're paying $28 for $1 of the stock's profit. Now, what I love about that is oftentimes we can look at the market, the S&P 500, and see what that PE ratio is, and you can tell if the S&P 500 is expensive or not. So normally the S&P 500 has a PE ratio of anywhere between 14 and 17. So anytime the S&P starts to get around 19 or 20, you know that the S&P as a whole, that's how we know the market is expensive. We'll say that again. That's how we know if the PE ratio of the S&P 500, which is your VOO or your SPY, is anywhere between 14 and 17. So if you want to know if the market is expensive, you can say, what's the PE ratio of the S&P? And if it's at 19 or 20, then you can say the market is kind of expensive. Now, if you're looking at this PE ratio of app when it says 28, another things you can do is go say, what's the average? You can type that in, PE ratio of Apple, and you'll get that, right? Next one, earnings per share. Earnings per share. What earnings per share tells us, it tells us how much money a stock has made, a company has made per share after it sells everything off. So watch this. Apple has 16 billion outstanding shares. Those are the shares that me and you buy. Those are the shares that the shareholders buy. Those are the shares that the banks buy. Everybody. Now, Apple's current price is $181.37. But watch this. Apple makes $6 of earnings per share. So $6 times 16 billion, right? So when you're listening to an earnings call and it says Apple made $1.52 earnings per share, or $2 earnings per share, they're saying once they paid everything off, this is what that is. So they'll say like Apple recorded $16 billion or $8 billion in earnings. And so they'll take that and divide it by the shares to come up with a number per share. When you're looking at the market, they always judge things financially on a per share basis, right? Per share basis. That's important to know, because when you're looking at did a company make earnings or did a company miss earnings, they're always going to judge it based on that overall number, and they're always going to come back and say they did this per share. So just remember that when it comes to earning, right? Also, those earnings that they make come from everything that they do. That comes from investments, that comes from business, that comes from operational costs, that comes from loans, that can come from bonds. Anything that cashed in that quarter as cash will be considered earnings per share. So just know that. Keep that in mind, right? Next, we're going to look at the dividend yield. So I like to use this metric as this. So Apple has a 96-cent dividend. That yield is 0.53%. Think about it like this. And this is how you can know it. That 0.53% is the percentage of the stock price that they are paying us in dividends. All right, watch this. Go find out what is 0.53% of whatever the current stock price is, and it'll always be that dividend yield. Every time. It is the percentage of the stock price that's being paid to us. Now, the dividend, of course, is a portion of the profit. Your dividend is going to come from those earnings. Your dividend is a portion of the profit that a company pays us in cold hard cash. The dividend yield is the percentage of that stock price to give us a numerical understanding. This is why companies increase their dividend yearly, so the yield can always be right. All right, next, ex-dividend date. So this tells us when the dividend will be paid. So if we're looking at this right now, Apple will pay, they paid a dividend February the 9th. February the 9th is when they paid a dividend. And last but not least, one of the things we're going to look at is we're going to look at this 1 year target. So this saying in 1 year, they're estimating that Apple should hit a $201 stock price. A $201 stock price. Right now, one thing I did miss that I want to tell you is when you go to it, the top, AAPL, that is the ticker symbol. So that is, I like to call it a company's nickname in order to be traded on the stock market. A company has to have a nickname to be traded on the stock market. Everybody get one. Apple's is AAPL, and that tells us that Apple, how it's traded. Now there's another company on, and you need that because you would think it would be APL, but there's another company called Apple Hospitality, which is a REIT. And there's APLE. So AAPL is Apple ticker symbol. Also, on the side of that, you see these numbers. These numbers tell you the dollar amount that Apple is down, and then the percentage that Apple is up or down, or any company. So when you see the ticker symbol, next you'll see the stock price, and on the side of that, you'll see red or green. Green means the stock is up, however many dollars, however many cents. And that percentage that's in the parentheses tells us the percentage that is down. So if we're looking at Yahoo Finance right quick, you'll see ticker symbol, you'll see stock price, and then you'll see some statistics. You'll see those things. So I hope I helped you out just now with that. This is just for my people who want to get in the game right quick. You want to do a quick breakdown. You don't really know what you're looking at. Boom, we just did it, man. It's your boy, the Wallstreet Trapper. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you check out our show, Trapping Tuesdays, each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Salute.